The only person that we need.
FYP Production.
She fell in love with the bad guy, but she loves my intentions. Nothing feels better than the moment we're sinning, no. Nothing feels better than the moment we're kissing. I'll say I'll love her for forever, in the morning forget her. She was raised under money, growing up she couldn't see the poor. Save my number in her phone under me or more. Look me in my eyes and ask what I need her for. So in this game of life she just might keep a score. Darkness is clouding my judgment. Marijuana clouds cause the loud is so pungent. But me, I haven't touched a drug since that Trader White. I live my life before the fight like I'm Dana White. The block is hot like that boy band with Nick Lachey. Hold my heart in your hands like a Fabergé. Precious. We was young, dumb, and reckless. Living like the devil couldn't catch us.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And if this is your first time, then allow me to introduce you to the YSO podcast. Podcast for the youth, by the youth, giving a voice to the youth, and being the voice of the youth. And we want to thank y'all for tuning in with us live here this Thursday, September 3rd. Yeah.
Tomorrow, sweet birthday, Beyonce. Happy birthday, my God, Michael Battle. Your cousin's birthday. Which cousin we got? Sean.
Well, all right.
You're just supposed to know that. Like, whose birthday on the same birthday as Beyonce? Beyonce had cousin?
Right. I was like, I'm here.
She could have been introduced me in club.
Really? That's where your brain goes?
Yeah.
Not Beyonce.
Okay, Beyonce right now.
All right, cool. Anyways.
They finna replace her.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we are happy that you thought it not robbery to join us tonight. And as you can see, if you're looking at your screen, that our fellow co-host Ashton is coming to us remotely from her wonderful home. Due to the ripping and running and high intensity of her work and career, she was not able to make it out here, but she still wanted to lend her voice to the episode this week. And so yeah, I mean, gonna do the intros as we always do.
It's your boy Jack Sparrow coming back. You already know. I'm keeping it light because we about to get real deep.
Indeed.
Last episode I was Frodo Baggins. This episode I'm Jack Sparrow. Every episode I'm gonna come with a new character. So just keep it locked. Stay tuned. You'll never know who I might be. I might be your favorite character. Or you can post in the comments and think who I should be next episode. That's called
don't post in the comments.
You don't know.
No.
Engagement, community engagement,
Interaction, all that. I feel like that was such an umbrella term. That was like not what it is. Just had to take yourself. But you already know who it is, man. It's your boy CK, AB, all them letters.
I'm so stupid.
Good evening, everybody. How y'all doing? What's up? It is your CEO and visionary, Miss Amber Lyons, and welcome to another episode of the Speak Out Podcast presents This is America Revisited. Kicking it off to my girl Ashton.
Hi, everybody. My situation has already been explained, but it's Ashley. Sorry. I couldn't be there. I miss you guys so much. I haven't seen you in forever. I'm doing.
She doesn't have COVID, everybody.
I don't have.
Oh, and we would be remiss if we didn't mention that Ashton just had a birthday on September 1st.
Absolutely, happy belated.
I have to say happy birthday,
girl.
Thank you. You said what?
I said you just turned 21, but I was joking.
Yeah, I'm 22. Thank you very much.
Yes, indeed. Happy belated.
Thank you.
Ashton. And you already know what it is. It's your MC, Mr. Hefty. You know what I mean? The big goat himself, Emmanuel Lyons, St. Even. However you know me, you do. And yeah, we back. You already heard, our founder and visionary and my mom tell you, and if you've seen the promotion and this is America Revisited. And it's unfortunate, but here we are again.
The Drake side of it.
It's unfortunate that we here again, but you know, the very same types of issues and situations that we were addressing on the first time that we did the This Is America series is still relevant and even more so because of recent developments and events that have been happening in the nation. And first and foremost, I think before we get into the highlighted subject matters that we have is I think it's important for all of us who can to recognize that this is a very important time that we have, that we stand upon, a very delicate precipice that we stand upon with this year. This has been the wildest year in all of the years to every year. And a part of that, of course, is the election that we have coming up, the general presidential election, as well as so many other things here in these U.S. of A's. And if you're, of age and in good criminal standing, we just implore you to vote. It's a civic right. It's not a civic duty, unlike jury duty is a civic duty. That's like a thing you have to do. It's a civic right, so it's a thing you can do. We just encourage, whoever you plan to vote for, or whatever your thoughts or opinions are on the current political landscape, to at least, try and, be involved in that process. So that's just a little PSA, if you will. If you're not registered to vote, there's like 1,000 websites where you can register to vote, and it's all very quick. So, yeah. And without further ado, y'all ready to talk? This week's a little bit different. I mean, if you're one of our typical viewers, then you know that oftentimes as we go through, we, probe questions and answer and bounce off ideas. But this time we just wanted to have straight up conversation with one another and really just dive into what has been happening. So I'm going to kick it off with just a bit of information about things, and then we're going to jump right into the conversation about those things. So the first thing that we really wanted to address was the unfortunate police shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And so just a little background information. Jacob Blake is a 29-year-old African-American man who was shot in the back and critically injured by police on August 23rd, 2020. During an arrest, police officer Rustin Shesky shot him 7 times in his back, with 4 of the shots hitting Jacob Blake. So he fired off 7 shots and 4 of them connected. And once again, that happened in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And I'll kick off with my first, thoughts when everything happened, because this was yet another example of something that we had the video and the footage for the moment we knew about it. It wasn't, something that had to be dug up or, be surfaced with body cam or anything like that. Eyewitnesses, neighbors that were across the street were recording the entire incident from even before, the attention got turned to Jacob Blake, because the police that were called there were actually called there for an altercation between 2 women that he was trying to break up and dissolve and de-escalate. And when they arrived, focuses shifted to him. And then as he, was entering his vehicle, his motor vehicle, absolutely, yes, his kids present in the vehicle, that's when the officer shot him. But like I said, this was one that we immediately had the footage for. So I immediately got angry, me personally. I got angry because, well, for one, when things were reported, he was still battling for his life, and he still is alive, thank God. It's been reported that he's paralyzed, so that's unfortunate if that is 100% accurate and true.
Sorry if you hear unusual, a loud thumping.
Well, yeah, we're currently in the house with 2 young children, so I'm sure you all understand. We need sound panels.
We need some hoverboards. Like literal hoverboards.
Like that can't touch the floor. But yeah, I got angry personally because looking at the footage and just knowing everything that has been happening this year in particular, it's clear that officers of the law still feel 100% protected by the system that they are a part of.
Rightfully so.
And yeah, rightfully so, them feeling that protection because it's designed for that. But it shows that, there's not even a matter of on a human level, these officers seeing and understanding the landscape of everything, and even that playing a role in hesitating or being more careful or not, killing unarmed or shooting unarmed Black people. And, people can get into the syntax of unarmed versus armed in this particular situation. But for me, at the end of the day, this was a situation where we saw cops fire at a man that they did not have to be firing at. And knowing that they operate with that unbridled confidence and sense of protection because they know that they're not going to be held accountable and that justice is not going to be sought after. And if it is sought after, it won't be dealt. It just made me angry. That was just my first initial thoughts. It was just pure anger.
One thing that recently, I was put in, I don't want to say I was put in a position in which I could have lost my life. I was put in a position in which I could have went to jail for something that literally was stupid. So the night you had your going away party, I don't know if I ended up, I told you.
I knew everything that happened because Tyler had told me first.
So I'm driving home. I make it off of the exit to get on the 285. So I'm like driving through Sandy Springs, I think, right? I'm driving through Sandy Springs and lights flash.
Cobb County, for those of you who don't know.
Right, that's Cobb County. Lights flash. I pull over on the highway. The guy comes up, the police officer comes up to me and tells me, he tells me, give him my license registration. I give it to him, and I give him all that stuff. He goes back to the car. He comes back. He's like, mind pulling up and going to this gas station? That's right, because the exit was literally like right there, the next exit. And so I was like, yeah, because it doesn't make sense for you to stand on the highway. So we pull into the gas station, and basically he tells me,
wait, what time of day?
This was 2:30. Yeah, it was like 2:30 in the morning because I had just left.
That's important.
I had just left celebrating with Emmanuel down in Kennesaw, and mind you, I had two people with me, and we're all Black. So, thankfully,
yes.
I had a woman with me though, so I'm sure that helped in some regard. She ain't say nothing, but I'm sure it helped in some regard. And basically, after 15 to 20 minutes of arguing, basically, the reason I was pulled over was because my insurance wasn't showing up in the system, which is stupid because no less than a week before this happened, my father had just made a payment on my insurance and gave me a paper. It said, if you get pulled over, show them this. So that's what I gave him. And so eventually he's just like, all right, I'm going to need you to step out of the car. And when he said that, I guess he kind of saw the look on my face because I was just like, dang it. And he was like, I'm going to show you. Like, I'm going to show you the computer. I'm like, all right now. So I get out. And plus, so when I pulled up to the gas station, 2 cop cars had showed up, but only one pulled me over. That's when I knew something was wrong. So I get out, I go look, and he's showing it to me, and I'm looking at it, and I'm just like, I don't know what to tell you. This is wrong. Like, this is literally wrong. And in that moment, I realized he is in the worst position any human being could be. This is why I don't see why people would want to be police officers, because of the system they have to work in. You're telling me you can't make any exceptions. You pulled me over. You called a backup. You can't, neither of you can just say, you know what? He obviously is not lying to me. so I'm going to let him go for the night. What he did was he let me go, but he still took my car because he had to. Like, what do you mean you have to? No, you don't. I'm telling you the truth. I'm not lying to you. There's
hardcore proof.
Exactly, and there's like literal proof. The insurance is right here. For you to tell me that it's not showing up in the system has nothing to do with me. Because when we went to get it out of the impound, the lady said the same thing to my father. I was like, that's exactly what he said to me last night. And she was like, okay, no, go get it. Go ahead. It was a black lady. She's like, okay, no, go ahead.
What
Go
did she
take
say?
the car. She said that it looks like this car doesn't have insurance or something. Basically, the exact same thing he said to me is what she read off of whatever computer she was looking at. I was like, that's exactly what he said to me last night. He was like, she just let me and my dad get the car, and he was like, don't drive through Sandy Springs no more.
Right.
Because apparently there's something wrong with their system.
Right.
And I'm just like, that was when I realized, okay, even though he probably felt upset about it, he still felt as if he had to do his job. And any good person would do their job. You know what I'm saying? But I still can be angry at you, sir, because not only did you choose to be a part of this system and operate as a cog in a very, very, very complex machine that you can't even fathom because you take orders from somebody. So no matter what, if somebody tells you to do something and they have a superiority, even if it's bad, you're gonna have to do it because it's an order. And that's the issue. That's the issue. There's people in these positions that go up, 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 and up. Mm-hmm. So the trickle-down effect is their foot soldiers have to carry out a certain mentality. And, you know, we've all seen Training Day. They all forget everything you learned when you get into the academy. Forget everything you learned. Because they're going to... But yeah, like, we know, these ideas are not just fathomed out of thin air.
No, yeah. And they've been in existence for literal centuries.
Literal centuries. Like,
they've only evolved and gotten more complex. There's only been more layers.
Right. When we look at world history, no country, like, there's almost no policing. Military, yes, but there's no police. You have the town, somebody does something, you have a meeting. We figure out what we're going to do. True. They be having the sheriff.
One sheriff.
The one sheriff. The one dude. The one person with a gun and the authority to use it. You know what I'm saying? And how does he become sheriff? He gets elected. They choose him.
And most other countries, like, even if you have police officers.
I'm Snellville.
No. Bro. I think so.
What was you saying? Ashton was saying.
Oh, I was saying that in most other countries, like, even if they have police officers, they don't carry guns because they're not allowed to. Nobody's allowed to carry a gun.
Right. Wow.
And I think one thing that kind of comes full circle to how we were talking the first time that we addressed this in our first This Is America series is the fact that though being a police officer or a cop or whatever verbiage you use for that occupation, though that is a job and is a job of service under definition,
we pay them.
That is very true. It is a part of a system. It is one job that is a part of the criminal justice, use the justice word lightly, system that involves not just the cops, but like you said, the chiefs. It involves the attorneys. It involves investigation. It involves judges. It involves prison. It involves all of these things, and it's a pipeline. It's a direct pipeline directly targeting minorities, specifically Black people. Like the prison industrial complex is not a made up thing. It's not a fathom, like, a theology that you can choose to believe in or not. It's real. It is a direct pipeline, and these people, and that's why when you see things like ACAB, or people with the mentality that all cops are bad, which I subscribe to, it's not about the person's character, right? People hear that and they think we're saying every single person as a cop is a bad human being. No, the function and job of a cop is bad innately. It was intrinsically created to oppress and destroy a particular group of persons. So as much as you can do it and be a great person, and as much as you can do it and do it right, let's analyze something super simple. Why is there a quota for arrests and tickets and things of that nature? What if everyone on planet Earth decided to stop doing any crime? You still gotta arrest people if we all follow every if crime stopped existing, like that, it's beyond just like it's the system that's been in its existence since its inception. And the thought process that the system is broken is one that we have to destroy, because the system is not broken. The system is working as it was created and intended to work, and it's working masterfully.
It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people who don't understand that. Like, they don't understand the fact that the system is what it's supposed to be. Like, from the people who made it. Like, it's not what it's supposed to be for us. It is, in fact,
it's not what it is.
Yeah, from the jump. I don't know how many of you like actually read the 13th Amendment, but it's an exception clause. It literally states slavery or indentured servitude is abolished and illegal unless you are convicted of a crime. That's any crime, literally any crime. They were like, what are we gonna do? We can't just let the slaves go. We can't make money on our own. It was like, it's okay. I have an idea. Make them criminals. And nobody can say anything. Then nobody's gonna care, and that's exactly what they did. They're like, you know what? That kind of sounds good. In the 40s, in the 30s, it was just regular Jim Crow laws. You sipped from a warm water fountain, jail. Like then jaywalking.
That's what the mob did. Gets you the tree first.
First, right? And it's like
and they wouldn't want to go to jail for that.
And at all, because the people who doing it go ahead and put the uniforms on right after.
Exactly.
And it's like what the KKK like never when they went like underground, they didn't go underground. You see their faces, you just don't know you seeing their faces. These people were like, yo, they think we're stupid. Yes, the rednecks are, but you know, we kind of got an organization. We can let them be the face. You feel me? And let everybody think that
we're gonna be politicians,
lawyers, we're gonna be judges. You feel me? We're gonna be the people that you have to see when you need help. I infiltrated, took over.
Well, but
they was kind of.
It's also a matter of infiltration implies that there was something to enter.
Yeah. Right.
It was already.
They created it.
It's like, yo, it's so wild to me. So wild to me. That's really great.
That's not even a finesse. That might be the biggest finesse I've ever heard.
And that's another.
It's not even a finesse because they set it up for themselves. They took over the country in the beginning. There's nothing to finesse. They have all the power.
There was a group of people who literally said to people living on this indigenous land, it is our destiny to travel west.
Yo, when they did teach us manifest destiny like it's a good thing.
Yes.
What? Like, and I remember morally being like, right. I was learning the manifest destiny, and I was like, but people live there. Like it's one thing if you pulled up and was like, hey, can I chill? No. The Trail of Tears.
And I remember Pocahontas. These white men
are dangerous. real deal.
Not happening.
Bro, Pocahontas was 12. That Disney movie live.
But I want to go back to
yeah.
It's video to us. It happened in real life. I want to go back to that because just on the basis of people trying to justify the actions of the police officer who shot this man in his back 7 times. I mean, I know that when I first saw the video, I immediately it went back to George Floyd because and to Rayshard Brooks because you could actually see these people being killed in live and in color and by police officers. And you know, it's just how the first thing coming to your mind is not again.
Yeah.
Like, is this really happening again? And to see how they. Now I couldn't hear the discourse between them, but the story, what was said was that he was trying to break up a domestic dispute.
Yeah.
And then he was
What
going,
they got called there for.
and he was going back to his car because he had his two sons in there. So you could see him walking away from the police officers. There were several of them, and one of them had his gun drawn on him. So I don't know what was being said, but
It doesn't matter what's being said.
let me finish. But the number of police officers, female and male, that was around him and following him, when he went, and they said that he disclosed that he had a knife in his car. So
They
for
probably
them to
asked-
say, oh, he was trying to go in there to get something, like it took, but you had to shoot him in his back 7 times. Like you were right there, you grabbed his t-shirt, grabbed his t-shirt, and then shot him in his back. I mean, to me,
Personally,
that is supposed to be the last resort.
Not for them.
I don't know what the law is in Wisconsin. I know in Georgia, if somebody like robs your house and they finish, like they got to the point where they finish and they're running away with your stuff, you can't even shoot them in the back because they have left your property, and you would go to jail.
Even if they're still in your home, if
Right.
you hit them in the back, it's
It's-
still not right.
Which makes no sense to me. I mean, it kind of does make sense, but if they're in my house, regardless. But at this point, when you see like, why is the punishment for resisting arrest or not complying death?
Well, and why is it only for us?
Exactly. Like, and even
Because we
if
got footage galore of white people
Yeah, and
not
even
just
if it does
resisting,
happen-
bucking, fighting.
Finding
other
officers.
ethnicities, like I know that there's like, I watched a video where a guy was saying where he was able to pull up a case for like, it was like Tamir Rice and like 3 other people that was like around that time. It was maybe 2017, 2018. And the point he was trying to make is he was trying to say that, it's not a race thing, but that's not the truth. But he was able to pull up people who were white and had the same circumstances, like a 12-year-old boy who was playing with a toy gun, pulled up, got shot. You know what I'm saying? It's like, even still, that shouldn't be the problem. Like, that shouldn't be a problem. Chris Rock said it best. You can't have bad apples. This is one job you can't have bad people at.
But it's also
Pilots, like, on my fault. Some people just don't like to land. Some people just like to clip the wing a little bit.
But it's also, and like
Spice it up.
him saying that was like on point. But it's also a matter of that doesn't make them a bad apple, and that's the problem. In the function of a job of the job, even you don't know how many times a cop does something wrong, and no one is gonna hear about it.
Yeah.
It's between
Him and
him, his chief, and it stays there in that nucleus. It's like if you're at work and you say something, sexually inappropriate to one of your coworkers, and they go to HR, and then HR pulls you into the office, and it's like, don't do that. And then and you just go back to working, and you still in the same area, brushing shoulders with the person you said it to, and XYZ, and you still doing the same thing. HR just said, don't do that no more. Well, huh? And then you got these examples. You look back at George Floyd and Derek Chauvin, where it's repeated over and over again.
Mhm.
This person got a track record, or they got a style
And it's
of how they do
it's
it.
Executive list.
This is against minorities too. Like the dude with George Floyd, he had a few incidents with some Hispanic people, a few incidents with Black people. Like it's a recurring thing. That's why I don't even like put the energy into like looking that type of stuff up. Not looking that type of stuff up, but like seeing it makes me like not surprised. You feel me? Because it's not surprising at all.
I'm really tired of having to talk about this.
Yeah.
Like, why is this an issue in our country in the year of 2020?
Because it's been an issue since like whenever we came over here.
Also,
It was going to be.
We don't know what it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. Why is your gun drawn? The man is unarmed and he has kids in the back. There's no way you could justify a shooting of any man walking away, going to his car with kids in the back seat of a car. That man is not doing anything to put his kids in danger. And you, by firing your weapon 7 times at somebody's back, hitting him 4 times, just put his kids in danger.
Oh, it traumatized them. They'll traumatized.
They're gonna be traumatized for the rest of their life.
Therapy.
I have a friend.
And then I also heard that when we found out that Jacob Blake was alive, he was handcuffed to his hospital bed. What are the charges?
For what?
I have a friend who's in prison for attempted murder, and the reason why
Are they really friends?
Huh?
They're really friends?
Yes. The reason why he ended up going down a path that led him to that was because when he was a young boy, he witnessed his father being killed. And he never had any reason to enter the street. Ever. Don't say his name out loud. No. We can talk about that. But he had no reason to enter the street. His mother owns a boutique. I seen his mother and his little brother recently. They still live around us. Like, he had no reason to enter the street except for that. That was the only thing. For some reason in his mind, something clicked, and he was just like, I have to just, I don't know. Like, I don't know what it was. But stuff like that is what people like us see in our marginalized communities every day. Like, you wonder why kids my age, for the older people, you wonder why kids my age are confused and messed up. Because when their parents were children, they saw stuff that they couldn't readily work out in their mind. You feel me? So like now, those types of traumas are hereditary and genetic. We already know our blood records stuff. You feel me? It's that complex. I don't know how God did it. He said it, it's happening. So it's wild. The things that we see, the things that we experience happen way more. The same numbers that say more white people are killed by police officers than black people in a year shows that we are killed at a higher frequency than those people.
And we're
disproportionately targeted. I was watching The Matrix with my mom earlier. Like, it was Reloaded, and it was a scene where he had like entered that room with the architect, and the architect was talking with all them big words and whatnot. Basically, I kind of got the gist of what he was saying. He says he judges things based off he judges things based off of how the 6 Neos have came. This is the 6th Neo. And he said that he judges things based off the time it takes for one Neo to get there for the next one. And that's how he judges things. And it's like, essentially everything else he said, it boils down to that. And that's kind of like how I realized that's really how I see these videos. You know what I'm saying? Like, since Mike Brown, it's only a matter of time. How long it's going to be until it happens again? Yeah. Maybe a month, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, maybe a day. Who knows?
And those are only the stories that break through.
Exactly.
To get to
exactly.
through.
Exactly. How
to
years later you
national
find
news.
out about like an Elijah McClain, and you find out about people who it was under the rug, and now it's being brought to light because now the justice is trying to be one.
We didn't know about Ahmaud Arbery until months later.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Until the video came out, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So how does it make you feel when you see something like that happen to somebody that looks like you? He had dreads, black father. I mean, none of your fathers, but black man that you can relate to.
All three of us did this.
Y'all trying to tell me?
We all did it. Y'all trying to I know exactly what it is.
But then you see videos like like someone who is walking down the street carrying, what is it, a RK-45 rifle?
Wait, RK? What's that?
Yeah.
Hey, what type have done that. It's RK. I can take that. It's
No, they said it was
AR-15.
Yeah, it was an AR-15.
I'm not a guns expert.
Yeah, that's the
I thought that's what I heard. But in any event, it was a rifle.
Yeah,
You could see it very clearly, evidently from a
It's for
distance
war.
away.
it's a gun for war.
And you're walking
Literally for
around,
war.
not a dark-skinned person, killing people at a protest.
Hey, shout
And
out.
people are saying to the police, he just shot people. He just shot people. And you got that looked like that was
No, yeah,
somebody.
he said.
that didn't look like that was a regular police car. That looked like that was a when they call in the forces, it looked like
National Guard.
National Guard looked like it was one of those kind of
Well, it probably
trucks.
was the National
But
Guard.
then you have police cars out there
Cities all
because
over.
you can see the sirens, but you walk up to it with a big old gun, walk past it, but yet a man who is walking away from you to get back to his children into his car, unarmed, gets shot in the back gets shot at 7 times, shot in the back at 7 times, and then you gonna tell me that someone that's walking down the street with a rifle that's white, that's able to walk up to the police, they eventually tell him, thank you for coming. Give them water.
Thank you for coming to help us.
You get to go back home.
I saw a post on Twitter that was like the guy that shot at the movie theater, the guy that shot at the church, this young man, like all of these people who are white and armed were arrested and were safely they were arrested and like safely arrested. And then you have Tamir Rice, who was an unarmed 24-hour boy. You have George Floyd, who was an unarmed man. You have Jacob Blake, who's like all of these
Got enough
people
names
of
to
color
go
who are
Yeah,
unarmed,
days and
who
weeks.
are
I was
dead.
thinking if I ever
Like,
get
if you don't
into
see
it,
what's
like,
going on,
you know,
like then
You're living under a rock.
like it's not even that. Like you're
you're choosing to stay ignorant. And that's what it
And
is.
that's exactly why.
And that's
one
exactly
thing
what's
I'll
going on.
say.
That's what those comments come
y'all were
from.
mad
It's
about
people
Cat
choosing to stay
kneeling. Like, do
ignorant.
you see why now? Like, do you see why?
And one
They never
thing,
cared.
one thing I'll say is that exactly what you said, Andrew. That choice is exactly why I have retired from the explaining racism to white people business. It's a business that I found myself in often because I was around white people a lot. Anywhere where there's a lot of white people, there will be a conversation where you have to explain racism to them. And I went to Kennesaw State University, so yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Well, I was just gonna get into like the little, because I mean, brung it up and it was our next topic. So we're gonna really get into the information behind Kyle Rittenhouse so we can discuss even more. So Kyle Rittenhouse, which is the young man my mom was alluding to, is a 17-year-old white American male who shot and killed 2 people and injured another on August 25th, 2020 during the third straight day of protests in response to the shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Rittenhouse has since been arrested and charged with 5 felonies and a misdemeanor. Since his arrest, he has garnered massive support, especially from conservative Christians, both morally and financially. He has also inspired much hurt and outrage from many across the nation for his actions.
I just want 10 minutes. Like 10 minutes in the set.
With Kyle Rittenhouse,
Yeah.
he has no hands.
I know, no.
Which is why
Exactly. That's all.
But
That's
listen.
why I need 10 minutes.
there's a lot to unpack in what you just said. He's 17, which is 4 years under the legal age to own a gun. Well, rifle at legal age.
They used to say that video games was gonna mess us up.
Well, I play Grand Theft Auto.
I still play shoot 'em up
in my
games.
life.
That's the best games I'm at. Like I played sports my whole life, but I can't play the sport game for
Call
nothing.
of Duty.
2K, Madden, nothing. See me on a game, I can fight you or shoot. I'm here, but I don't want to kill nobody. That's all.
But yeah, like 17 years old. First of all, he's not from Wisconsin. Okay,
No.
drove him across state lines, arrest her too.
Hey, nah, that's
No, yeah, people were saying,
They need to talk to her. Like, what was the reason? Why would she even be complicit in that?
because she's just like him. She was there just dressed up just like he was. Had an AR-15, had a body armor on. She just wasn't watching her son, obviously, like an idiot.
Stupid.
And you want to know something's funny? The fact that this boy killed protesters in like the name of some unknown vigilante, amazing, yeah, whatever. So this happens. He gets all this praise. He gets all this praise, support, and all of that, right? White boy, what little milk white boy? The one who's nationally known because a black boy was killed because he was a Crip, but he's not. Oh, I forgot his name. So it's a little blue-eyed white boy who lives 10 minutes from Compton in South Central LA. He leaves his suburban neighborhood to become a Crip. He hangs out with some Crips for a while. His parents, they kick him out the house because he's Cripping and he's white. So why is he Cripping? And Cameron Terrell. And at some point, because of this young man he drives a very expensive car. So like obviously all the police officers know who he is. You know what I'm saying? He's seen in little music videos, this, that, and the third. Him chucking up the set. And two, like 16, 17, I think he was still in high school. He wasn't 18 yet. But two, I think it was like 16, 15-year-old children, two black boys. They hop out of his car and kill somebody. Hop back in his car, they drive off. Those two boys are still sitting in prison to this day. He, however, was able to get off with, I think, a little bit, like some probation, a little bit other stuff.
He was found not guilty for like all the felonies, and it was like
I know he's not still upset. I know that.
He ain't allowed back on the strip more. What?
But what happened to him was his family was shunned. Both of his parents were successful businessmen and women. No longer can do business with anybody. The high school, everybody said they don't want him back. They kicked him out, and he can finish high school, but he can't do it here. And it's like, okay, so we got somebody.
Difference.
I can tell one was with us. One liked us.
Yeah, and more so.
Even still, I don't like it because somebody lost their life.
What's more important is one of them was doing it for good old America. And that's it. The difference.
That's what I was alluding to.
Because
talk about it. This is America.
What's funny about not even just that juxtaposition, but the direct response to Kyle Rittenhouse. We can go straight from the president himself, who, when asked about it by reporters, only spoke about and focused on the fact that one of the people he killed was allegedly attacking him with their skateboard and this, that,
shot somebody in the face.
Just a whole bunch of he was defending himself and
didn't he say he could have died?
Yes. He was like he very likely would have been killed by the protesters, et cetera, et cetera. But listen, he's saying he's saying the same things that spewing a lot of the same rhetoric that a lot of these Christian conservatives that have been supporting. I mean, the money that's been raised, for his lawyers and bonds and everything, is literally so astronomical how much money has been raised for him. And that's just the financial support. Nonetheless, all of the people that have been supporting him morally. And the point of focus in that for me is that, number one, there's this misconception amongst a lot of people, specifically white Americans who aren't racist, that Christianity is supposed to like save other white people from racism or bar them from being racist, as if slave owners
didn't
literally everyone and all of the ever
bases their whole notion on the Bible, on the Old Testament.
The Bible to control slaves.
Listen, I can remember when y'all's grandmother was in a church down here in Georgia, helping and serving, and brought them in. They were more black people were coming into the church because she came in there. They were starting to, minister about the Holy Ghost and all that kind of stuff. And the good old white boys and the pastor that was they were starch racist. They did not like it. She was working along with white pastors who were not like that. But the people who ran the church weren't approving of it. They actually padlocked that church so those black people could not get in there.
Well, who would have brought the wire cutters? Got the bucket in there.
They padlocked a church, locked you because your grandmother was in there helping to break down the walls of all of that stuff that was rooted and ingrained in the work of that house. And she was on the forefront working with those two white pastors. And the other people, they wasn't liking that. Oh, y'all trying to talk about the Holy Ghost and y'all trying to bring freedom and deliverance. Oh no, we ain't having that up in here. We got to have bondage.
Yeah, because
even in the house of God.
Our brand of Christianity has to endorse our racism. Like it must. So yeah, of course that's the reaction. Of course that's the thought process. And that's what I mean to focus on the question you asked about how it feels when you see one like handling the police, handling one situation, Jacob Blake, and then the handling of a situation like Kyle Rittenhouse. And unfortunately, it's not a lesson or a juxtaposition that I need to see. I've seen it 1,000 times before. We can pull up.
It's just another example.
It's another example of the same thing. And more importantly, I think what it really does is highlight that the only thing that's gonna work is actually destroying the system and abolishing the criminal justice system as it exists and birthing something new. Because you would think all 50 states and other nations protesting for weeks on end, you would think major cities protesting every single day for months without fail or miss. You would think looting and rioting, you would think that those methods would lead to at least some assemblage of difference, but there isn't. And that shows that everything short of knocking it all down and building up something new is only going to get us but so much, but for so long.
It's just a repeated cycle. It's like Andrew said, it's just how much time in between until it happens again.
And I can't even think about how
And then we'll
long.
be right back here having the same conversation.
Like, I can't even think about how long I felt this way. Like, I've been tired for as long as I can remember. But imagine, like, when I'm only 23, turning 24 in a few weeks or a week. I don't know. How
10 days.
10 days.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can remember in the second grade, for some reason, a police officer showed up to our school, right? This was like, he was in middle school. He had told us when he got home one day, he went to Brookwood, which is a really racist area. 5-4, same thing. That's the school that he's in, Brookwood High School. So I was thinking about the area.
Oh, you talking about when?
Yeah, some kids drove by, threw a red little Solo cup at him that had the N-word on it, right? So I told the cop, like, when I was there, and he looked me dead in my face and was just like, I'm going to get on there when I get back to the state, or something like that. Like, he just lied to me, you know? And I was like, I felt good. I was like, yeah, I helped. Right? Knowing dang well he probably forgot that the second I said it. Because he went back to talking to my teacher. My teacher was very attractive, not going to lie. But at the end of the day, it's like, man, how long, when does it start? Like, for me, it started when I think around then. I was in gymnastics then. And remember, I was the only black kid in my little group, right? And
not only was he only the black kid, but he was better than everybody else.
Everybody. Like, the older kids, everybody.
They was hating.
So they split us up. And this was before I got with there was another racist kid who was way older than me. I remember him because I was like, what's this problem? Like, what's your problem? He was like, everybody else cool, but you, I'm like, they split us up, right? And I'm sitting here, you know what I'm saying? The kid that I get paired with is like, I don't want to work with him. And I'm watching all of this go down. He's like, I don't want to work with him. And I'm just like, well, why not? He was like, I don't like black people. And I'm like kind of just sitting there like, you know, black, I'm brown, bro. What you talking about? And, you know, as an innocent child, I don't know what's going on. So he had, you know, he's talking to him like, we don't say stuff like that. I'm just sitting here like, well, you don't want to worry me because I'm black. That hurts my feelings. Like, you know, I don't know what that means, but it still hurt because I'm a kid. Like, I can't control that. I don't know. I don't even know what you mean. So I go and I just tell my mom, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, that kid just said he don't like black people. And she went off. I remember standing in that spot and watching her just go back and forth like this. And I was just like, what's going on? Why is she so mad? And when we left, and like as I got older, the more I think about it, I'm just like, if I knew what I knew, if I knew now what I knew, I wish I would have known then what I know now. Because then I would have hit him.
To piggyback on Andrew's statement, I did go to Five Forks. It was an out-of-district school, so I would have to walk to like a McDonald's. That's down the street, and then I would walk back to the school for practice. So it was when I was walking on my way back to school for practice. I think it was some high school kids, and it was a milkshake cup though, and they wrote the word nigger on it, and they threw it at me. It didn't hit me, but it like landed right in front of me. So when I got to practice, I told my white coach, who then told my white principal. And so that next morning, they called me to the principal's office. I was like, what did I do?
Right.
And so I get in there, my heart beating all fast. And she was like, well, your coach told me what happened. I was like, oh, crap. And we know about the students who threw the cup at you, blah, blah, blah. We don't condone that. Do you remember license plates? This, that, and the third. I'm like, lady, I am traumatized. I don't remember nothing. All I saw was the cup. But to piggyback on his point, like that's where it started for me. But then I don't really remember being tired and finished, like thinking my life doesn't matter until we didn't get a guilty conviction with George Zimmerman.
I was
I
never like thought
that.
my life didn't matter to them. I know that they see me as lesser. I've always known that.
Not me. I thought, you know, this is open and shut. Like we're gonna get this guilty conviction. But when we didn't get it, like it kind of opened my eyes to, and I said out of my mouth, they don't care about us.
Yeah, I was very radical. Like I feel like I became radical very early because by the time I got to high school, the
system, white people, the police officer, not all white people. You can't blink.
Yeah,
but when I say white people, I'm talking about the racists and the rednecks and you know those white
the ignorant people.
I'm not talking about the people that's invited to the cookout.
But also, I think this is gonna sound stupid, but it's the truth. The they is the world.
True. That's a bar.
There's nowhere where black people are not oppressed. Even in our own nations, even on our own land.
And then we have some black people who will condone the oppression. Like Charlamagne the God,
Or-
Joe Budden thing.
Then not
Like,
only
how are
that,
you-
or the white people who will deny the oppression.
Yeah.
I saw a video earlier this week with a bunch of black men who were Trump supporters, and their main thing they was yelling was, "I'm not oppressed. I'm not oppressed. I'm the freest person on this planet."
My dad.
The problem. The problem.
How can what? What are you talking?
The problem, and here's the reason why. The problem is the same. It's a syntax issue, right? Because people say being oppressed is like a mindset. Like if you don't let the oppression oppress you, then you're not oppressed. But that's not true.
It's not.
That's just number one.
And
That's
I could definitely understand why he would say that.
and that's
He
that's
is a
simplifying.
six-figure making black man in this country from a third world country, owns multiple properties, has multiple streams of income.
And he sees.
You know what I'm saying? God is
that
definitely
a lot of
blessed him.
black people have gotten.
But I'm tired.
But black people as a whole,
Yeah.
And not only that,
are oppressed.
I am tired of.
In 2020, and this is the problem. The civil rights movement was 100 years ago, and we're still dealing with.
40. No, 60. It was 60. It was only 60 years ago.
Having to fight the same battles that they were fighting back then. Like we're fighting But we're fighting for racial equality.
It's 2020.
That's 60.
Yeah.
We're
But-
fighting for racial equality. There's a lot that Black people have attained, and a lot that Black people have today that they never had back then. And we stand on the shoulders of all of those that lost their lives back then. But at the same time, we should not be having to look on nothing and seeing somebody grab a Black man by his shirt, and put bullets in his back when you're not even supposed to shoot anybody. You're supposed to be protecting and serving. And you're rolling up on every ethnic neighborhood call with guns drawn, throwing people on the ground, 10 bodies on top of them. You know, I mean, there's a marked difference in how we're still treated today.
I think something that is all that's very important. But I think for really highlighting and looking at the subject matter of the whole oppression-based thing or whatever is another thing I'm really tired of, and it's unfortunate. A lot of people do this. A lot of Black people do this, but mainly Black immigrants do it, or people who are children of Black immigrants do this. And I'm tired of this particular thing. I am tired of anytime Black people are airing out our grievances about this nation, having the retort be about how this is the best nation in the world, or all the blessings and opportunity, and how there are things here that aren't other places. And that's fine. That's good. That's well, and that's wonderful. But what does yellow have to do with blue? Stop telling. That's like if you are talking about how in your house there has been no lights and no gas every single day, and I come and I'm like, well, you got food on your back and food on your table. I'm talking about I don't got no gas and no lights. I can't do my homework and I can't do X, Y, and Z. What you telling me about how wonderful my nation is and how I should be blessed and thankful, especially because you come from, or your family comes from another nation and you came here for the blessings and opportunity. I never said that we're not captains of industry and this isn't the place with the most billionaires per capita and X, Y, Z and freedoms that we have, like freedom of speech and religion and other. Wonderful, dandy. This nation has, since before it existed, has been bred and backboned on racism.
So really,
Since before it existed.
It's the most beautiful nation there is in life, and everybody knows it.
The only nation I would rather live in is Switzerland. Because somehow during the Second World War, they were locked, like in between two nations, two whole Russia and something else fight each other, but nothing happened there, like ever.
Ashley, do you see that question?
Yeah, I do. I feel like, it's a good question, but I just feel like for me, I can't pick one or the other that's more challenging because they're coexisting. Like I can't, and they're both something that I'm always consciously aware of. I feel like in general, Black women are kind of at the bottom of the totem pole just because we're like two minority groups intersected together. And I can't say that one is more challenging than the other. I feel like if anything, if something is like not going my way when I'm like out for a job interview, or if I'm actually at the current job I have, or just the grocery store, like anything, it just makes me think, okay, which one was it that they didn't like? Is it because I'm Black, or is it because I'm a girl? I feel like it just makes me, them being together is the most challenging thing in itself. Because I feel like, if I was a Black man, then I would be like, okay, it's because I'm Black. That's why. It's not because I'm a man. And if I was a white woman, I'd say it's because I'm a female, because I obviously have white power in some way, shape, or form. So then being together is just difficult in itself. Yeah. But I also wanted to point out the in regards to the little white boy and that whole situation, the police's response to that, I'm sure you guys saw like the press conference they had afterwards, and how the chief was saying that we have a curfew for a reason, and if the protesters weren't out past curfew, then that wouldn't have happened to them.
Yeah.
And I feel like I hate that there's always a justification, like somewhere along the line, like they always find a reason for it to be like, oh, well, if they weren't out, then they wouldn't have died, and like that's not answer enough. And there's so many people that agree with that entire sentiment, and just it blows my mind.
Yeah.
And
Always
that's
justification.
and that justification can be found, and it can always be always, regardless of the circumstances and the context, because the issue comes down to not seeing the humanity in us. I mean, that's a big part of the issue in general across the board with white people, is whether they readily, consciously recognize it or not, or if it's due to the subconscious training and raising and education and et cetera, they see us as subhuman. So the humanity that we should be granted is less than the humanity that they should be granted. That's why they can see something that they would not want for themselves or their kinship happen to us and make excuses.
Bro.
But I mean, even with the white guy that he killed, I thought maybe they would be like, oh, he killed a white person, it was actually bad. And they still that.
Just as bad as us.
Yeah,
He's with us.
well, once you become a nigger lover,
that's
might as well be a nigger.
Spear chucker, like that's what you are. You're no longer on this side. Like, it's crazy. I would hate to be a white person, because I'm sure like every white person would just assume I'm racist. You know what I'm saying? If unless they're not racist themselves, every racist would assume I'm racist just because I'm white.
I think all people are racist until prove.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I remember I was kicked out of class because I was having an argument with this white young lady who wore camo to school often, and
What is that in detail?
y'all need to know what type of white person I'm talking. There was only 3 types of white people that went to South Gwinnett. All right, it was the Armenians, the Bosnians, and those 2 types of white people.
They're not even white. They're
What?
European.
That,
White. Never mind.
I was about to say, boy, what you mean? That's what they make them. So you got those 2, and it's either they were way too white for the whites and hung out with us, or way too black for the whites and hung out with us, and way too white for us and hung out with them. So you got one of the 2, or you got the rednecks, cowboy boots, camo to school, hunting, mudding. You know, that's it. You feel me? That's it. Frat boys when they leave. That's them. And this was one of them. And we got into an argument. She tried to liken the Black Panthers to the KKK. And for some, I don't know why or how we got here, but that is when I lost it. And you guys know, I'm already animated when I debate. So people think I'm angry then. So when I actually got mad, I think everybody got scared. Because I was loud, but then I was like, all right, now you, and then it was like, now you're tripping, and everybody's just like, yo, calm down. I'm like, bro, y'all not gonna sit here and tell me I'm the right.
When she yelled that blasphemy out of her mouth, and you going,
nostrils, like, cause she said it as if it was a question. It's like, what about the Black Panthers? What about them? Like, we was protecting ourselves from you. Like, what do you mean? And we all got kicked out. It was 3 of us that ended up getting kicked out. But I was still so mad because it was like, I shouldn't. Nah, they sent me to Dr. Lee. And then Dr. Lee let me go because she was like, okay. I'm like, I explained to her exactly, because I don't know where Cedric was supposed to come with me. I don't know where she sent her, but she didn't come with me. Yeah, probably. But I went straight to Dr. Lee, sat down. I'm like, look, the reason I'm sitting here right now is because of this, and this. And she looked at me and she was like, all right, I understand. Just go back. Just try not to be laughing. I'm like, man, I should have skipped. I should just not went back, because I went back to class. Neither of them came back.
only a few occasions in life I've been kicked out of class, and the person that I got kicked to sent me back, and I really went back. If I ever got kicked out of class and sent to a place and it was like, you can leave, I was free roaming, nomading it through the hallways until the next period. Very seldom was you about to see me again, because at that point I feel like now I got to explain why I'm back and I'm supposed to act docile and stuff.
Right, the only good thing was we was about to go to lunch anyway. So like when I went back, I was there for like 10 minutes. Got back. And everybody was just like, that was.
So why is it that when Black people begin to voice how they feel about these issues, we become the problem? Like, we're not supposed to ever say, yes, I have white friends. Yes, there are people in my life that are not Black that you have love for, but yet you're not supposed to be able to express how love, like, whatever, fondness. But no, I'm saying for real.
Wait,
How is it that you become, some sort of a problem because now you are voicing how these things are affected? You're not supposed to. I'm a mother with a Black son, 2 Black daughters. I have Black grandsons, Black granddaughters. This is not supposed to bother me.
Well, and it's crazy because 60% of the class was Black. And they were the ones. Well, I think they were more telling me to calm down because they were afraid. They knew what it was going to be for me. That's most of the time what it is. It's like we know, but
from each other.
Yeah, it's like from each other. It's like we don't want harm to come to us. So it's best to stop now before it gets to a point where that could possibly happen.
Well, I understand in that case. I'm talking about in general.
Well, most people can't face that music because they've been living in ignorance their whole life. So then once you open your eyes to something, you can never shut them.
Nope.
So it's nobody wants to go through that change. It's either I change and become a better person or stay as I am. And it's a lot easier to stay as they are.
And I'm going to say 3 things that really highlighted. Number 1 is the simple fact that it's exactly like if you're in an abusive relationship and you tell your abuser how they abuse you, and then they get upset about it. Like, of course, they don't want to hear about how they are trespassing against you, how they're hurting you, how they're destroying you and damaging you, because that destroys like the entire complex that you guys share. That's number 1. Number 2 is for white people specifically. Once you fully accept 100% and understand, you lose the ignorance and you really learn and you gain the empathy and X, Y, and Z, and you fully understand the complexity of this racism machine we've been battling since the beginnings, you realize that you cannot stand on the sidelines any longer, because you as a white person being on the sidelines adds and compounds to the damage. You now either have to join the fight with us, or if you stand on the sidelines, you are readily conscious of the fact that you are now part of the problem. Or you just do the complete, racism is real, and join the other side and just full-blown like 10 toes in the racism.
I think I
can learn it. You sit there and read all of it and get the information. You're like, you know what? I'm with that movement. But most of the time, that's not the case. But that's a huge. I've said this to so many people, and only every white person I've said this to didn't understand it, and every Black person I've said it to has. I expect white people to be racist because, 1, I know that way more white people are racist than people think, but also 2, because I know how easy it is.
Yeah,
you are born, even if you are born in a household, in a community where racism isn't the theme, you are in a nation that's education, that's healthcare, that's every single system, employment, and everything you can find is built to your benefit and built to make you racist.
Hero. Like make you
are supposed to be
like
blind.
Black people are starting to, some white people are starting to vocalize that they do know that they have what's called white privilege.
Well, thank you, but
Yeah.
I mean,
But what does that do?
that doesn't do nothing.
As they say, I'm not celebrating a sheep for bad.
Yeah.
Like,
Bro.
and it's not a matter of, because I'm actually someone who is thankful and appreciative. Whenever I've been out at protests and I see the white allies that aren't doing it performatively, and you can tell the ones who are doing it performatively because they would do things like start their own chants. But regardless, you know, I'm someone who is thankful for the allies that we have, because I recognize that for us to upend this in the way that we've been trying to do for so long, which is peaceful, despite what the media and most people would like you to believe. We've been doing it the peaceful route this entire time. And for us to ever succeed in that regard and endeavor,
We have to.
or either way, it's gonna take the help of the people who can benefit from the system of power. So I am appreciative, and I'm not ever trying to knock against that. But these are not issues that are abstract. These are issues of human rights. If you recognize and wake up one day and are like, oh my God, I live in a place where all humans do not have true and equal rights, and particularly humans don't have them because the system and the world is meant for them to not, and it destroys and depletes them and raises and elevates me, and I recognize that now. I truly believe that all people should have the same amount of rights. You got to basic human level, you've gotten to ground zero, how
Literally. That's the bare minimum.
the same rights. You should think that. So I'm just beyond that is where you get a measure of gratitude, I think I would say. But I think things as simple as acknowledging and recognizing, or doing the process of educating oneself, though I know it's still the more difficult choice because it's easier for you to remain ignorant and compliant, it's also not the decision or the path that I'm going to throw you a parade for.
Right.
I hate to take all the good air that we just have out of this, but scrolling on my timeline, I see a post that says Daniel Prue died March 30th, 7 days after Rochester. New York police put a hood over his head and pressed his face into the pavement for 2 minutes. The world only found out about it today when his family released video and records of the incident. Now, this tweet was a day ago.
Yeah, because I found out about it.
But I just now am reading this. So, like I said before, the time it takes from one to happen to the next. When did Jacob Blake happen? Was it this week, last week? Early last week? That's what it's looking like.
Rochester, New York. While police officers were arresting him, they put a hood over his head and he suffocated.
A hood?
Yeah.
This is the stuff that just makes my blood boil.
And you know what's wild is recently, this is how I know that maybe I'm at a place where I'm like, man, you know what? I don't want to say tired, but it's just alluding to what I said earlier about how we've been doing this and trying to do this the peaceful way. Even when you look at examples like the Black Panthers, you look at rioting and looting, you look at some people who have taken the law in their hands as Black people, whatever the case may be. We've been doing this on the large front, the peaceful way. And
It don't work.
I'm just
It don't work.
It's not even just a matter of it not working for us. That's never worked in anywhere and ever done. Ever. And it's so unfortunate. But the only thing that has shifted regime and things of this nature is straight up war.
Yeah, and I'm not prepared to fight a war right now.
I don't want to fight no war because that means one, I gotta get fit. Okay. And two,
that's the biggest fact.
I'm
You can't be out here not fit right now.
and two, I'm
America is
one
spread
foot
out.
in the PTSD door anyways. That's just gonna knock me full into the but it's a matter of really looking at it and just being man, we don't have a lack of ideas, we don't have a lack of knowledge. We don't, as much as the resources are skewed and we don't have that much access, we don't have the lack of resources other than probably funding. But and when you look at Black,
It's not even a lack of that because money ain't.
well, yes, but you still gotta have it and live by it. It's not. We don't have a lack of some people would say we have a lack of structure right now, but I wouldn't even say that as much as we just have a lack of figureheads. I think the structure is there. We're making the protests. We're doing the boycotts and XYZ. It's just we don't have the people who are the MLK or the Malcolm X or the Rosa or the Medgar Evers or whatever. That's the disconnect that I think our generation or we have right now in this current movement. And we have some examples, but none of them are at that level. But we don't have a lack of any of those things. And yet it feels like we haven't even gotten as far as all of the officers that murdered Breonna Taylor being fired. One's been fired out of 4. The other 3 still work.
It's crazy.
We haven't even got as far as a law that absolutely should not exist. It should have never existed. Qualified immunity, even being actually looked at. And we got petitions with millions of signatures to end qualified immunity. And ain't no one in not a General Assembly or a Congress, nowhere, like, y'all want to look at qualified immunity just to shut them up for a few weeks? Not even that. It's like, what's the key? Like straight up, what's the key? Because the only missing key in my eyes is we ain't caused enough bloodshed.
Some cops start dropping their head like
we ain't toppled enough systems, literally. We burning down buildings and knocking it, and even that,
They don't even care. They don't care.
We turning down statues, but that ain't enough. Nah. The problem is they still got their bread and they still got their lives.
That's all they care about.
Dr. Lee is
Yeah, we know.
I was about to say, no, it ain't. Like, I don't know who Dr. Lee is, but she is not that man. But
You know, it's child.
unless he had, I was gonna say.
But regardless, it's like, I mean, when you see it, it's 2 things that's evident, man. They waking up and they still got that same amount of bread in their pocket and influxing in their life, and they still got the same amount of blood in their bodies. Well, and it's not like we haven't been working to reduce.
And to that point of the blood still being in the bodies, for cops to be so scared of us, y'all not dying.
And
We are.
Talk about it though.
We are.
Talk about it though. And not only that, for cops to have this veil, this belief that so many Americans believe, and this identity that they are this class of human that's special and above. Y'all got a lot of fear in y'all.
I wish everybody.
Y'all very easily scared, my boy.
That revenge or whatever it is you think that we're going to do to y'all, it still hasn't happened.
Where's the Cat Williams?
A show that portrays like cops in like the most perfect life of the life. Like cops on that show. I mean, yeah, that too. But like that show really shows you the type of people that become cops. People who are sometimes kind of socially awkward as a kid, don't really know how to like communicate. You feel me? Probably get bullied a lot.
Carl Rittenhouse's job that he was a cop. He's a year away from
And that doesn't surprise me.
You feel me? And it's like there are people, the people who want to be cops. To want to be a cop, you're weird. Point blank. Period. That's
that's a little valid.
That's a valid thing. Like from a young age, if that's what you aspire to be, regardless if your dad was in the force, whoever was in the force. If you want to be a cop and just a street cop, never try and make detective, never try and get into an office nowhere, never try FBI, internal affairs, none of that. You stay straight street cop, like you hit the beat every night until you retire. You are weird. You are a flawed individual. I don't know what sense of power you think you have, because that's where it comes from. It's the fact that I have the power here. What I say goes, and if you don't do what I say,
what's their favorite line? I am the law. That sentence shouldn't exist. because no cop is the law.
You are not
The law is the law.
It's not a bill.
You are simply an enforcer of such. But that's
never
really,
sat on
that's really, it's like Alonzo said, BOC train today. I'm the police. I was here. Y'all just live here. That's not a unique mindset.
At all.
That's not a
You
unique
don't think
mindset.
these
That's
people
not.
have
He's
egos?
not the outlier.
Like
Or problems. These are human beings.
Right, like think they can take their anger out on something or somebody.
You ever had to go to school and have a matter of fact, don't even you had a bad day. Even if y'all can't relate to this, I know y'all seen on social media people talking about how back when we was in school, but we would wake up and we would decide we was gonna be mad that day. And then we get to school and our friends make us laugh and we be mad because we supposed to be mad that day.
Yeah.
But what if I'm a cop and I wake up and I decide I'm supposed to be mad that day?
Mm-hmm.
And I got a Smith or a Desert Eagle on my side. And I can choose my level of interaction because at this point I don't have to wait for the scanner and I turn on the lights.
Yeah.
I can play duck, duck, goose with your life. And that's not me saying that that's a complex for cops. What I'm saying is these are people. These are individuals. These are humans. But it's like once you pass, it's like the academy changes your level. Like people believe that the academy is this thing that makes you a level above human. Like it changes your neurons and it affects you on every molecular level. So when you come out the other side, you come out, I was just about to say, you come out like Steve Rogers. Because it's not just the fact that he's strong and he's fast now. What's so great about Captain America? He's just. It's all about doing the right thing. It's all about helping the people, the measure of, because that was instilled in him. People act like the police academy does that to John. John bullied you every day from 5th grade to 12th grade, but now he's a cop. So it's mad respect. And I might be stepping on toes, but the same thing with the military.
Talk about it.
You was the wackiest individual I knew all of high school. You cheated on every girlfriend. You slimed out all of your homies, but now you're in the Marines. So it's thank you for your service. You suck. You're a terrible person. You just happen to be in a uniform, and you could be a great person, but guess what? You're still wearing a bad person's uniform.
Just a bad uniform. Like honestly,
you're still a part of the machine. If I'm right on some Robin Hood type stuff, but I'm in a gang, right? I get put on the set, but I'm not doing what the rest of the homies is doing. I'm not out pressing the line. I'm only helping the community. I'm running turkey drives and this, that, and the third, all of that. But I still got the set tatted on me. It don't matter to nobody. They don't care. They don't care about, oh, well, he's a staple in the community and he does this and does. But what are you a part of? Something that's image and history and all of this is tarnished, stained with blood. But you wear that badge that started as the slave patrol, and then, but you fly that flag.
Cop or Hispanic cop or anything else besides. I mean, I'm glad that there's black people in some but still, they'd be worse than the white ones.
Of course, you know
some. You gotta say some.
Right,
not
some.
all.
But I mean,
if there's a cop out there that I say I'd have respect
You know,
for.
I make a generalization about cops, just how I make a generalization about referees. Whether you black, white, Haitian, Puerto Rican, you're a bad ref. I ain't never seen a good ref. I ain't never seen a good cop. Shout out to Deacon Mike though, because he a detective.
Yeah, he a detective.
I messed with him.
He graduated.
No good cop.
You feel me? He graduated. One of my homies, one of my close homies, Roosevelt Prime. My man just got out the academy. You feel me?
Not more than things.
I'm happy for him, but
yeah, exactly.
you know, I just know. I'm not gonna call him a good cop. I know Roosevelt is a good person. It's still F12 though. It's still gonna be F12.
And this belief by a lot of black people that they're going to become a cop and change it from the inside.
Ooh, you only get
Do you
so
know
far.
black
baby.
police officers also suffer at the hands of their white counterparts?
Duh.
Yeah,
Let you try.
you knew that.
But they chosen to protect and serve you. I'm not
Well,
surprised.
and that's very admirable. That's very naive. It's
Like,
very
Joanne, that's what I said. It's extremely naive. Oh no, it's extremely naive.
You enjoy
It's extremely naive.
It's extreme. The
They're
same way
sorry
people
at
who
the
enter
50-yard
politics thinking they're
line.
going to change something. The monster is too
So
big.
no
You
black
can't enter
people-
by yourself.
So no black people supposed to be police officers.
I didn't say no black people supposed to be police officers.
All I
You
said
gotta
was
start somewhere.
all I said was to enter with the idea that you're going to change it from the inside is
It's
very
naive.
naive
It is.
because that's very implausible.
Look how many black cops there
Well, you
are.
don't know.
Ain't a single nowhere been changed from it.
I don't care why they enter it. I'm saying if you enter it with that notion. That's why Roosevelt joined, because he wants to change it from the inside. And I respect that, but it's implausible. It's unfeasible.
If that was the case, it would have been changed already.
Way too long. You will get to a point, you will get to a ceiling where somebody further up will realize this person is trying to stop what's going on. We have to stop it, and they will stop it because that's what happens every time. Why do you think every time in America up until now, whenever black people moved and started their own city, it went down in flames and everybody died? Because literally, that's the whole point. We can't let them know that they can do this without us. They need us. We have to make them think that they need us in order for us to continue to make money. We can't make money for real. We gotta use them.
What is this man second time saying that they can't make money?
I'm ready to bring this episode to a close.
I'm gonna say that so much. That is gonna be like my quote forever. I can't wait to get on a radio show. You can't make money for real. Like they need us. They not hustling for real.
Ashton,
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, like you said, yeah, my thing.
we're gonna go around with some final words. This is
Like what Rob Williams said.
America. This is our. I think we did 2 or 3.
Right?
No, we did this. I think previously we did like 2 or 3 episodes on This Is America. I think we did at least 2. We did multiple.
So this is
We did about 4 Young and Black in America.
Yeah, I think we did.
But I think
This
we
is
did
the
2
fourth.
This Is America, and then we did some mental health, goals, relationships, all that. But I think this might be the 3rd or the 4th This Is America. So this is America Revisited. So as you can see, this is a very hot topic because unfortunately things continue to happen to bring us back to this place. So we're gonna go around and give each one, because it's time for us to bring this episode to a close. And Facebook is really giving us a challenge every time we come on. That's why we started early. But Facebook, it keeps shutting down our lives. So we had to go back and start all over again from the drawing board. So we're thankful for everybody that's tuning in tonight, and apologize that we came in late, but it was not us. It was definitely been Facebook these past few weeks, just killing the live. The YouTube will be on, but the Facebook won't. So, and we're starting on time or even early. That's technology for you. So we're going to be ending the episode shortly. We want to go around and give each one of our co-hosts a chance to say how they feel on this topic. This is America Revisited, and to give their handles on how they can be reached. We're going to start with the birthday girl, Miss Ashton Gates.
I'm not even gonna lie, I don't really have no final thoughts. At this point, I'm tired of having final thoughts, because what else can I say that hasn't already been said? Don't lose hope, I guess.
She says she guessed.
Like, it's too much happening. The world, it's everything at this point in life is piling up. Jesus, I'm not gonna question you, but I am waiting for you to do whatever you gonna do to get us out of here.
Just take me out first. Please.
Wait, what?
Wait a minute. I mean, take me out of here. Like, take me out of here. Like, don't take me out. Like, here, like, take me out. Like, physically, bring me out. You know, like, you know what I'm saying? Nah, I mean, he ain't got a rap shit. That's what he feeling.
Please don't. I don't need the rap.
Nah, I'm pretty sure. Bruh, being caught up, like, literally just
I think
pulled
it'll
away.
happen so fast that you won't.
I'm gonna scream.
Okay, next.
You think, bro, I'm flying off the ground, dog. I don't care how quick it happens. I'm gonna be scared.
Okay. Anyways, you guys can follow me on Instagram at Ashton Gates with 2 S's at the end, and on Twitter at Ash Gets the News.
You guys can follow me at _skip to my shoe, Instagram, everything. Facebook, Andrew Buckmeyer. I'll be on there though. So.
You can follow me at _CB03 on Instagram, on Twitter, at Coach_Buck03. My final thoughts, remarks. Stop killing us, man. That's really all.
Let's go sleep.
My final remarks are I'm tired.
Hey, don't sign no 360 deals on Spotify.
You already know what it is.
Oh, Lord, you're crazy.
It's your boy, Mr. The Family. You can follow me on Instagram at Lions. Hotline blinging. You can follow me on Instagram at Lions_Emmanuel_ also or at The Even Saint. You can find me on Twitter at RIP Lions with a Y. I've never specified that. The Lions is with a Y. Hopefully you know that. Facebook, Saint Even. My final remarks would more than likely be that for all my Black people, as tired and in pain, both psychologically and physically as we are, and as much fight as we've had in us, there's still so much more to go. And so when you can and how you can, take the time for yourself and your loved ones, and put, especially in a year as tumultuous as this, your mental health first. I really want to stress that, just taking the time for your mental health and trying not to be demoralized by everything that we're going through.
We're going to talk about the Youth Speak Out podcast, streaming on 6 digital platforms.
SACE.
Connect with the voice of the youth and follow us on Instagram at YSO Podcast. You follow us on Twitter at YSO_podcast. You can email us at youthspeakoutpodcast@gmail.com to connect with us, to be a guest, to work with us, to be a part of helping us to build a powerful and positive media platform, which we're doing here. And I was also, you can follow myself, the CEO of not only this Speak Up podcast, but From Pain to Purpose Incorporated. So follow us at www.FromPainToPurpose.net. Check us out. That's our website, www.FromPainToPurpose.net. You can check us out and follow us on Instagram, From Pain to Purpose, or on Twitter, Pain to Purpose. You can follow us please go like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, From Pain to Purpose, Inc., INC. You have to put that. And also Amber Lions. You can follow me on Facebook. We also have a Facebook page on From Pain to Purpose. Our Healing Pains Through the Arts group on Facebook. I'm on Facebook, Amber Ann Lyons, LYONS. I'm also on Twitter, not Twitter. I'm on Instagram, Amber Lyons, or Nzinga L. So We look forward to working with you guys. Keep reaching out to us. We thank everyone that tuned in tonight, those that weekly tune in and bi-weekly tune in. We're excited to be able to work with this team of young people. Please continue to support us. Our t-shirts are available for sale, so please connect with us and purchase your t-shirts. And on that note, we want to say we are all connected as Black people, and we want to make sure that we stay connected. And in the words of King T'Challa, don't build walls, build bridges, so that we can continue to stay connected and help one another, force back and forth. Wakanda forever.
I thought you were just gonna say Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever. R.I.P.
Rest
Chadwick
in peace,
Boseman.
Chadwick Boseman.
Please rest in peace, Chadwick.
There was a lot of Black men who died this weekend. Also, rest in peace, Cliff Robinson. And rest in peace, John Thompson.
Yeah. And with that being said, life is truly not, tomorrow's not promised. We say that all the time. But these are the days that we have to understand your very next moment is not really promised. These people are living. Jacob Blake did not think that when he had his children in the car and he stopped to try to do good, that he would end up a victim of police brutality. So be vigilant, stay prayerful, stay connected, love one another, forgive one another, and let's let the world know that we are a force to be reckoned with as a Black nation, as a Black people, and that we do have value to add to this country, no matter what anybody thinks or says. So thank you for this time. Until next time, peace out.
FYP Production.
She fell in love with the bad guy, but she loves my intentions. And nothing feels better than the moment we're sinning, no. Nothing feels better than the moment we're kissing. I'll say I'll love her for forever, in the morning forget her. She was raised under money, growing up she couldn't see the poor. Save my number in her phone under me or more. Look me in my eyes and ask what I need her for. So in this game of life she just might keep a score. And darkness is clouding my judgment. Marijuana clouds cause the loud is so pungent. But me, I haven't touched a drug since that Trader White. I live my life before the fight like I'm Dana White. The block is hot like that boy band with Nick Lachey. Hold my heart in your hands like a Fabergé. Precious. We was young, dumb, and reckless, living like the devil couldn't catch us. Life